You surround yourself with people who just constantly agree with everything you say, and it makes it really hard for you to sometimes realize you're wrong. If you say something stupid, I don't mind saying like, hey, that's pretty dumb. There's the perfect plan that if everyone followed, they would be the most jacked and tan versions of themselves. So there's like where you are, which is all the way to the left, where you need to be for complete success, which is all the way to the right. We need to find that place in the middle. People who they binge eat, they don't even realize the hundreds to thousands of calories a week that they're packing extra from doing that. I'm going to tell a little story about you, Mike.
Oh, God.
I've never seen someone so dedicated to response time as you.
I'm a lunatic, man.
Welcome to Stronger You Radio with Mike Dola. Join Mike and friends as they discuss issues to keep you healthy, fit, and on track to create a stronger you. Let's listen in now.
Hey guys, it's Mike. I'm back with Stronger You Radio. On today's episode, we're going to talk to Josh Citron, one of our main coaches and seminar staff of Stronger You. I'm going to introduce a little bit about how we met, what it's like being a coach, and just sharing his story with you guys. Hey Josh, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Great to be here.
Awesome. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how we met. I think our little story is actually pretty funny. You want to tell your side of it? I think it'd be fun to hear your side of it first.
Yeah, well, I've been a strength and conditioning coach for, nearly a decade now, or, personal trainer, strength and conditioning coach, nutrition coach, all kind of wrapped into one career. And I think we originally met on the Complete Human Performance members page. And maybe that was a year before we actually started talking. And you saw some of the stuff I was doing because I, like any other professional, post about my clients' results and what's going on and my thoughts. And we had chit-chatted a few times, maybe over a 6 to 12-month period. You had told me about the Stronger You brand, but just like anyone else who really hasn't actually checked it out, I just kind of thought, okay, cool. It's another company, another guy doing his thing. And, friendly relationship. And then one day I saw another fitness professional make a post about his thoughts about something that, sometimes people do, a little stir the pot post. And I just kind of thought it was misdirected and dumb. And I said that. I just said, I actually disagree with you. And I think this is kind of a silly thing to post. And really, no one gets anything good out of it. And then you actually had sent me a message right after I posted that, basically just saying, yeah, that was really dumb post.
I actually agreed with it on that post. I was saying, me and you were the only ones agreeing with it. And I was like, what world do we live in? Like, why is Josh, this guy, the only one that agrees with me on this?
It's kind of funny. The internet is full of you surround yourself with people who just constantly agree with everything you say. So you always think you're right. And, it's like this bias. And it makes it really hard for you to sometimes realize you're wrong. And I think people are often afraid when, a professional that maybe they like or admire says something, and I very much don't care. You could be my best friend, but if you say something stupid, I don't mind saying hey, that's pretty dumb.
Right.
For all purposes, I really like the guy who made the post, and I just said hey, you might think that, but I think that you're wrong. And I appreciated that you actually, agreed with me as well, because like you said, no one was agreeing with us. Just this really silly thing. And it was funny because when we got to talking, I had just told my fiance the night prior that the fitness industry is really interesting. From the outside in, it looks like everyone does really well and that everything's always going great. And because like any other business, you're not going to tell people, when you're struggling or when you're losing motivation, because that just brings everyone down. And I had honestly gotten to a point where I had felt like I just don't know if I can do this anymore by myself. Right. And I had literally said to Kelsey the night before that conversation between you and I don't think I can do this by myself anymore. I need to find somewhere to work for and work with a team again, because the motivation just wasn't there. And when we got to talking, you had mentioned to me how you were considering, approaching that professional about having a job, but you just didn't think that's what that person was looking for. And I had said to you just straight up, because the timing just seemed right, I said, well, are you looking to hire right now? And that kicked off all of this.
Right. It was so funny because I had no idea you were a quote-unquote free agent. I thought you had your thing. I don't try to poach people from other companies or businesses. I watch people, and I was loving what you were putting out there. And I was like, this guy is saying the same stuff as me. I got to see what his story is. And it was like one of those things like, are you hiring? Wait, are you looking? And then I think the next day we had a phone call, and we talked for like 2 hours about everything. You remember how that all went down?
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy because, like, you had told me once again that you didn't realize that I was looking, and no one would know because you don't really say things like that out loud. Perception is truly everything, and I wasn't doing terrible, but I just wasn't happy, and that is the most important thing to me, is just being happy. And when we were going to talk the next day, I was ready for, like, an interview, and I remember telling Kelsey, like, I wonder how this is going to go, I don't know what he's going to ask me. And I'm not one to get nervous, but I was a little nervous because it seemed like a really good opportunity to me. And when we talked, it was the furthest thing from an interview. It was just a conversation. And I felt almost as if you were more concerned about me being happy working for the company rather than questioning me whether I was a right fit or not. And that was not what I had expected. And I was so happy leaving that conversation. And, the rest is history.
Right. And I think there's two people being interviewed. You have to make sure we're a right fit. We have to make sure you're a right fit. And I just felt great about it. So how has it been? Like 9 months in? It's awesome.
Yeah, we're now coming up on month 10, actually. It is exactly how you described it to me. It is not an ounce different than what you described. And it's a ride, man. It's a ride.
I love having you here and doing the videos and the seminars and coaching our people. It's like the perfect fit. I think you were one of those missing pieces we needed, the motivational type, and your background. It's something our clients desperately needed, and it's been awesome having you.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that. I'm a firm believer that, different people bring different things to the table, and that is exactly why I like being on a team. When I was young, a very young mentor for me, who was really just an older friend, he said to me, in a band, every band member has a purpose. The bass player might not be the most popular guy in the band, but without the bass player, the band doesn't sound good. Every member of the team brings something different, and I was really happy to bring something completely different. And there might be areas that I am lacking in that other people just kill, and then there's areas that they might be lacking in that I kill. And that's why being a part of a team is so important.
What's the one thing you love about coaching?
It's crazy. Like, I'd be a liar if I said, like, the reason I became a personal trainer originally was, like, to help people, right? That's, like, the feel-good message that everybody puts out, like, oh, I love helping people, so I want to be a personal trainer. I want to change people's lives. I want to motivate people.
But that's my message, Josh.
Honestly, that is maybe now my message. Excuse my French, it's kind of bullshit that, like, everybody comes out and they're like, this is why they did it. I think there's a lot of other reasons why most people become personal trainers, and they're different. They're not all the same. But I can tell you mine was that I was just passionate about fitness. I enjoyed fitness myself. Mm-hmm. I saw it as a way, which this is kind of shitty, but I saw it as a way for me to make my hobby a career and to be able to help other people do the same thing. I liked working with people and seeing their results, like almost like playing mad scientist, right? Mm-hmm. But then as I got deeper into it, I realized that it really wasn't about that. Like, maybe that's how it started. It started off as like, if I take this person and I get them to do this, this is the results they're going to get. And I think that's cool. But then it became like more personal than that. It became like, wow, this person just like cried to me in person saying I changed their life. That isn't what I set out to do. Like, I didn't set out thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm going to change this person's life. This person's going to love me and I'm going to be like an essential, critical part of their life. But then that happens and you like have this moment where you're like, shit, like I actually did something good. Like, I might have started off doing it for me, but it ended up being like something that actually truly changes a person's life. And when that sinks in, like that you've done that, it kind of changes like your perspective. It's silly. It's like almost, I started this career, I was 18 years old and I thought very much like an 18-year-old. And now, and I'm an adult now and I feel like, with that time and maturity, I have truly matured where like, it's bigger than my original reasons for getting into this career, and I can appreciate that. And I love that. So honestly, like, my favorite part of coaching people is having that ability to truly change their life.
Same here. It's such an awesome feeling. Now, on the flip side, what's the worst part about coaching? Might put you on the spot a little bit. I'm curious.
There's a few things. It's hard to say it's the worst part because it's like, it's not that it's a terrible thing, but it puts a lot on you. And what that is your clients will kind of look at you as the be all end all. It's a lot of responsibility. Like, that person expects a lot out of you. And it's one of those things. I was just telling a client this actually today, is like, in theory, everything's easy, but in practice, it's as hard as you're going to make it. So I wish I could truly help everyone, but I can't help everyone because there is a point where like someone has to help themselves. They have to care about their health and well-being and results more than I do. Otherwise, it's never going to happen. And what sucks is like when you work with someone and you're really putting in like all the effort you can, but they're still not seeing the results because maybe they're not putting in all their effort.
Yeah, and that is tough.
You kind of like spin your wheels with them because like I always tell people as well, like perception and reality are two very different things. And maybe they're putting in like 60 or 70% of the work, which is like more than they've ever put in before. So to them, it just like feels like so much work and it's so daunting. And maybe they're not getting those like appreciable results to stay motivated and keep them going. But you as a coach have to get them to realize like if they just put in like, take that 60% and make it like 80%, 90%, it's just a little more work, but like the results they're going to garnish make it so much more worth it. You can't help everyone. Not everyone's going to accept what they need to do. Some people, unfortunately, there's nothing you can do for them. And that's really hard for me because I am a control freak. That is like really, really hard for me.
It is hard. And I said this the other day. I said, you can't just look to the program to fix you. You have to look to the program to help you fix you. And without that kind of personal responsibility, and I totally get it, the emotion involved in food, just telling someone that for their whole lives they ate what they wanted to stop doing that, it's not as easy. And I wish we had a button we could just push and help people, but if we could, we wouldn't exist. And if we can change a little bit of that, we're doing our parts. So,
right. And it's, I say this at every seminar, there's three things that people are more, in my opinion, more emotionally connected to than anything else. And that is sleep, finances, and food. And if you are messing with any of those things, you very easily can get targeted in a negative sense. We're trying to change their relationship with food for the better, but for some people, these habits just run so deep. It is extremely challenging to change them. It definitely can be really hard for a lot of people.
Now, we talk a lot about how it's so cool to work here and how we have such a good time helping people and doing what we love. So we get a lot of people asking to work here. What is some experience or background that you think people need to get into this industry?
Man, so like one thing that I'm probably too firm about, but I stick to it, is like if you want to be a nutrition coach or anything like this or work with Stronger You, this shouldn't be a B plan. This shouldn't be something you're turning to later in life. Although, I'd like to say it's never too late and follow your passions and follow your dreams. I think the best hires for the brand are going to be people who this is their career. This is what they wanted to do. Any fitness professional will tell you this is a very brutal career path. I don't talk about it much, but I've spent most of my adult life completely poor, broke, part of it homeless, and it all came down to me sticking to my guns and keeping this my career, even through the hard times. It's brutal when you are living in your car, like literally living in your car, and then you have to show up to the personal training studio, the high-end personal training studio, dressed real nice, smelling real good, pretending like everything is great because, like I said, perception's everything. And that story is not unique in this career, in this industry. You will find many successful professionals had to work 2 or 3 part or full-time jobs. spent time homeless, spent time poor because they wanted to succeed and they did everything they could. So I think it's really important that like you need to be set that this is what you love and this is what you want to do and you're going to do anything to make it. I think as far as education is concerned, it is a very odd industry. You have people with master's degrees who are super successful. You have people who just have high school degrees who are super successful. I think the biggest, most important thing is how do you connect with your audience? You know, education is amazing. Education is important, but education only takes you so far. I was telling someone this just a few days ago. Since I have been a fitness professional, evidence-based standards of how much protein athlete or someone training, like heavy resistance training, has changed 3 times.
Right. It was like under body weight. Now 3 times body weight is perfectly fine.
And no matter how many times it's changed, that has not affected my client's success at all.
No.
Especially with nutrition, there's just very few broad things that they need to be nailing, and they're going to be just fine. And knowing these like finer details, although I think you should know them, you should keep up to date with continuing education. I think they're important. I don't think that's what's going to make or break you as a professional. I think what's going to make or break you is how you're connecting with your audience, the service you're giving. You know, are you doing for them what they need to be successful?
Right. And I think it goes without saying that to get into the industry, you have to know what you're talking about with nutrition and fitness. But on the flip side, you need to connect with people. You have to have passion. You need to be a jack of all trades in that sense. And I think one of the best things people can do is experience outside of the industry. You know, I know a lot of guys that just coming up, all they ever did was just a fitness thing. So they don't know what it's like to work in an office or to have the challenges of travel and things like that. So, I mean, that stuff for me personally has been huge. I think maybe more so than my experience in this field. Just everything in combination has been huge.
I absolutely couldn't agree more. You know, we kind of get stuck in the rabbit hole or just like really focus on what we're doing that we forget to look at the big picture. I can tell you that myself as a fitness professional for years, I was spinning my wheels because I was so focused on being like the best programmer or knowing the most knowledge and being really stern about delivering the knowledge and the knowledge and the knowledge. Right. When what I needed was the personal touch. And because I was lacking that, you know, a personality, so to speak, no one cared. No one wanted to listen to my message. And what I really needed was a lesson in customer service. And I have an extremely monotone voice. I always have. I remember my freshman year of high school when I said here on the first day when they called my name, someone made a Darth Vader joke. And, you know, that's a curse when in a career like this. So it really took a long time for me to break that mold, especially considering I was in the military. So coming out of the military, you know, everything was very like just regimented and strict. And this is a career where you cannot be like that, you know?
You have to be flexible. You have the rules of nutrition that like must be met for success, but you can get so creative with this stuff. And that's what I kind of like. It's almost like an art. It's like, okay, this person needs to do this, but they're not going to do it. How can we work around it and almost like not trick them, but make them do it without them realizing it? That's like one of my favorite things.
Right. And I agree with you 100%. I mean, the seminar, something I always discuss is like, there's the perfect plan that, you know, if everyone followed, they would be the most jacked and tan versions of themselves, but no one's going to be able to follow the perfect plan. I mean, there are a few people that live in bubbles that can, and they do, and that's awesome. So there's like where you are, which is all the way to the left, where you need to be for complete success, which is all the way to the right. We need to find that place in the middle. I think that's where like a lot of professionals miss everything from nutrition to training, maybe even outside of the fitness and health career fields, because you kind of need to assess where someone is and start there rather than like take them all the way to the 100% compliant, perfect program. What's perfect is so relative to the person.
Half the people we work with, like if we just get them on the right track, if they just stopped eating out 2 or 3 times a week, they may see amazing results. They're not tracking things. They're just reducing calories automatically.
You know, you hear me say this, I sound like a broken record now, but tracking macros, I think, is fantastic. I think data is so important, like being able to look at what you're doing, but I never expect clients to be doing this for, a lifetime. It's cool if they do. That's totally cool if they do, but I don't expect it. What it is, it's a great tool to figure out what you're actually doing and finding those limiting factors, finding those poor habits that you have that you might not even realize that are getting in your way, such as, like you said, eating out, binge eating. We have so many people who they binge eat, they don't even realize it. They sit in front of the TV at night, they grab the ice cream, they grab the potato chips, they grab the leftovers from the dinner they had, and they literally eat till it doesn't taste good anymore, and they put it away. And they don't realize the hundreds to thousands of calories a week that they're packing extra from doing that. So getting them to track, even if we assign set macros and they're not even spot on, just getting them to kill that binging habit, all of a sudden they see amazing results. Then they realize, well, crap, it's because every night I wasn't shutting it down for the last 20-something years, 30-something years of my life, and taking that habit, that new improved habit of not binging, knowing when to say enough is enough, they're going to have success for the rest of their lives.
So now a lot of people wonder what our day is like. We wake up, what does a Stronger You coach do? You want to talk about that really quick to just give them an inside look?
I don't think people quite realize how busy we are.
I think a lot of people think this is a side thing for everyone. And it's really man, I mean, you could ask any of our significant others if we work and they will laugh about it.
Yeah, when I started working for you, the first few months, Kelsey was just not about it. I mean, she was about it because she knew I was really happy, but we're going to put it this way. So on a day like today, I've sat in front of the computer for most of the day. The only time I didn't, I went for a 60-minute walk at about 3 o'clock. I went for a 60-minute walk. Other than that, since about 7 a.m., I have been sitting in front of my computer working. That goes from answering emails to taking phone calls to answering messages. Literally hasn't stopped. Since 7 this morning, and when we get off now, I still have more emails I have to get through. And I think it's a good thing. I think, it's good to be busy. It's good to be answering messages. But I don't think people realize that. So, I answer my emails in order, and sometimes someone will send me a message at 6 p.m., and I won't even get to it till 8 or 8:30. And then they'll message me hey, why haven't you responded yet? And it's oh, man, we've been, we're tackling this stuff all day, which is a good thing. And
it's still so fast, to have a 2-hour response time.
Oh, I know.
No one, I love to toot our own horn about this, and I think it is seriously the reason we're growing. Our response time, our availability, our connection with people, that's our thing.
Right. And I've worked with a plethora of coaches in my competitive fitness career, and no one has shown the response time like our brand does. And that is what sets us apart. And our clients are conditioned to that now. So it's funny, if for any reason, you don't get back to them within just a few hours, you'll know. They'll usually say something to you. And that's fine. It's okay. And we'll tell them, hey, this is what's going on. You'll get it soon. But I have to often force myself when I go, let's say last night I actually went to a really cool event here in Des Moines, Iowa called Zoo Brew, where all the local breweries go out to the zoo and they open the zoo to adults only, 21 and older, and they serve beer there. And when I went there, Kelsey had to make a point before we walked in. She's like, Josh, for this 1 hour, please do not look at your phone.
Yeah, I have to do that myself. If I go out to eat with Krista, I'm hey, take my phone. Because if the thing lights up, I'm grabbing it.
I'm going to tell a little story about you, Mike.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so I've never seen someone so dedicated to response time as you. And for what it's worth, when you hear about CEOs and owners of companies, granted, of course they work hard, they're busting their ass, they're running a company. We know that a lot of these guys on the top really don't work as hard as the guys at the bottom, the people in the trenches. But I will say I've never seen someone so dedicated to response time. And the first time I noticed it, I don't remember what I was in New York for, but I was with you, and there were two things that just I always go back to. The first one was we were checking out your new house, and we were leaving. And we're driving away, and Krista says she wants to get a picture for her friends in front of the house. So you go out to take a picture of her. I'm sitting in the car. And she walks back to the car, which is about 30 feet away. And she gets in, and I see you like playing with your phone. And I figured, like, you know, you're probably doing something to the picture or sending it to her. And literally, like, her and I start talking. 10 minutes later, she rolls down the window and she screams at you to get off your emails. It's like, you literally sat outside the car 20 feet away for 10 minutes because you were answering some emails. And that was the first thing. And then the second one was really funny. We went to a Starbucks so we could do emails before dropping me off at the airport. And before we got out of the car, you started answering an email on your phone. And you're like, oh, it'll only be a few minutes. And 10 minutes later, I'm like, Mike, like, let's just go inside and do it on the computer so I can do it too. You're like, okay. So we go inside. We're literally inside for like 2 hours. We're doing all this work. Then we go, okay, like, I got to get to the airport. It's time to go. We pack up our stuff. We get back in the car. You sit down. You get back on your phone, and you're on your phone for at least 15 minutes answering more emails and messages before we take off.
Dude, I'm a lunatic, man.
Like, I tell that to everyone, and, you know, granted, maybe that's not for everyone, and that's cool. Like, I don't know if I can get that crazy where, like, every time I get in and out of the car, I'm going to go emails for 10 minutes. But the fact that you do it, and you do it well, and you still compose yourself well, and it doesn't wear you down, is just phenomenal. And I think it's hilarious.
Thanks, man. And you know what the funniest thing is? It's like, I don't feel like time doesn't pass. I'm just trying to be present. And it's like a curse because I know what I think is building this business, and anything less than that means we're doing worse. And I'm not okay with that. But we have pieces in place now. We have so much help. We have back office help. We have awesome coaches, super tight structure. So I don't know what I'm worried about. It's my thing, and I like can't get off it.
Well, I think ultimately it's a good thing because it keeps you on your toes, and not that I'm judging you, but you'll never get lazy. And that's awesome. You know, that's, you never want anyone to get content or lazy from the top all the way to the bottom.
Right. I mean, I was on vacation, and I'm like hiding to like email. Like, I got to do it. I got to be connected. But, you know, I'm getting better. And we're hiring people now just so I can be more present to our community. I love the group, our Facebook group. That's the coolest thing in the world to me, that this group of people are just talking and hanging out with each other. And when you came on board, when you saw that, it was probably pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think at that point we were just over 2,000 members in there, and now it's over 5.
Yeah, almost 6.
That's insane, man.
It is crazy. So, Josh, we're going to close this thing out, but I wanted to ask you one more thing. What do you think this thing is going to look like in 5 years, this Stronger You community?
I definitely think it's still expanding. It's still in that early stages of development where it's just going to, you know, exponentially grow. I don't think we're anywhere near the plateauing point as far as growth. So we're going to get more clients. We're going to bring on some awesome coaches. And I think as we grow, you know, you're going to see a lot more content. You're going to see a lot more videos. You're going to see a lot more PDFs and cool things going out for the clients, more service. And that's the thing, is like, we're really service centered. We never want the quality of service to drop. And since I've been here over the last 10 months, it's only improved. So I think that's what's really awesome about this brand, is you're never going to see anything get worse as we get bigger. It's only going to get better.
Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that, man. We're definitely going to have you on more episodes. I want to do some definite informative stuff with you. But thanks a lot, Josh. We'll talk soon, man.
Awesome, dude. Happy to be on here.
Thank you. I want to thank you guys for joining us on another episode of the Stronger You podcast. In the future, we're going to have all kinds of fun stuff going on. And listen, guys, if you want to hit me up and you want to come talk to us about Stronger You, you could email me personally at mike@strongeryoufit.com. We'll see you at the next episode.
Stronger You Radio is a broadcast wellness production powered by StrongerYouFit.com. Content copyright Stronger You. Executive producer Frank Sardella. Thanks for listening to Stronger You Radio. For more information on the podcast, visit StrongerYouPodcast.com.